is Starfield over? That's a big question we have to ask ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong, this does not mean that Shattered Space is not releasing. Shattered Space is obviously going to release. And just to clear up, that obviously does not mean, like, I'm not asking is Starfield dead. I'm asking is Starfield over in a longer sense. But let's talk about it because I think it's something we absolutely need to bring up, especially among the Starfield community. So, with all that being said, let's get into kind of a sad talk for Starfield fans. So, to begin, let's look at the bigger picture. As we know, we have been waiting for Shattered Space for a very long time. And specifically what I mean by that is we haven't even gotten an announcement about it. Not an estimated release as in like fall, winter, etc. We really haven't gotten anything as in trailers or any of that type of media. All we know is a few quality of life changes coming with Shattered Space. Obviously things like Creation Club, mod support, and all of that good jazz. Now, it all sounds great, but here is the real point. Here's the real kind of question, problem, whatever you want to call it. As we know, Bethesda really likes to work at basically one thing at a time. Now, Shattered Space is a little bit different because it's a DLC. Now, it has also been rumored that this is just kind of cut content that's being brought back. Like it was supposed to be in the original release, but they held at least some aspects back, not like the whole thing maybe. But regardless, the point is that we have one known DLC scheduled. And after that, for all we know, that could be, well, actually the end of Starfield. Obviously, there will be mod support and like mods being made just like Elder Scrolls, just like Fallout has. But the real point is that where are we going to get another Starfield? Now, I'm not saying there ever will be a Starfield 2. Maybe they'll just keep making DLCs on Starfield, which is actually kind of what I'm assuming. I feel like Starfield is a mix between live service and like single player. But with just no known details about the future, it's very like questionable, like unknown. I mean, we already know that the next upcoming Bethesda game is The Elder Scrolls 6. And let's just be real with ourselves. There hasn't even been an Elder Scrolls game in over about 10 years, a decade, which is kind of crazy. Now, I know Bethesda likes to take their time. Like I said, they usually like to go one game at a time. But that's not even the worrying part, because I believe that is estimated to be released around 2026, I think is the right year. So we're still away from that. But that's not even the scary part, because after that, Fallout 5 is going to be made. Now, if we're going at the rate that the Elder Scrolls has taken from Skyrim to 6, I mean, Skyrim released in 2011, and Elder Scrolls Online released in 2014. So by that standard, that means it has been over 10 years since any Elder Scrolls release, and over a good 13 to 14 years since an actual real single player Elder Scrolls game, not some mobile one, not some, small, like I said, mobile indie type feeling like thing. I'm talking about a real console game. And like I said, right after that is going to be Fallout 5. So let's just be honest with ourselves. If Starfield is even planning on getting a sequel, like if it's just Shattered Space and they're moving on to either a Starfield 2 like one day or whatnot, that means it is literally going to be probably close to 15 to 20 years, I feel like, before we ever see a Starfield 2. And I'm just going to be 100% honest. We are in an era where if you don't have a sequel within, let's just say, 3 to 5 years at the most, your name, like the game's name, is just going to be completely forgotten. Starfield's a big hit, and especially a big exclusive for Xbox. And it just seems like with all of that big publicity, it's just going to go to waste. I mean, like I said, we know that Shattered Space is coming. We don't even know when. We don't have any trailer, anything close to a release date. Like I said, all we know is a couple of key changes, which are just quality of life changes, not actually something strictly for a DLC. But that's it. I mean, after that, let's assume that releases this year. I mean, it is planned to release this year, but who knows? Of course, studios have to delay things sometimes, so maybe it gets pushed back to early 2025. That's the worst case. So if that's the case, and then Elder Scrolls 6 is the following year, and with the rate that these games take to make nowadays, Fallout 5 will probably be another 10 years from now to when they make it, because they're probably not going to start it until after Elder Scrolls 6. So we may be looking at over 10, or at the earliest 10, after that, like up to 15 to 20 years until another Starfield release. Now, honestly, I could be all wrong. Let's just be real. I could be 100% wrong, and maybe they're just going to keep making Starfield DLCs, and they have a team continually working on it. If that's the case, perfect. 100%. Let's go. I wish we would get some clarification, though, on that. But if that's the case, then we're set. Because, like I said, Starfield feels more like a live service rather than a just one-and-done single-player game. So it absolutely does feel like there'll be probably continuous Creation Club content. It'll probably almost feel like the Atomic Shop from Fallout 76. At least that's what it feels like. And then plus every DLC every here and there. But that's the best case. Like I said, worst case, we may have to wait 15 to 20 years at the most for another Starfield release after Shattered Space. And let's just be honest with ourselves. We don't even know if they ever plan on making a second Starfield. Because, truth be told, there's not really much room to go for a sequel unless you just create a whole new story in the universe of Starfield that pretty much goes along as the same time as the story from the original, which would be the one we're playing today. So it's a lot of questioning, and it makes you wonder, is Starfield over? I surely hope not, but it's just, I wish we had a little bit, just a tiny bit, more clarification on at least the future plans of Starfield. And that's really just the key thing. So that begs the question, is Starfield over? Not now, not tomorrow, but maybe after Shattered Space. Once Shattered Space releases and everybody plays through it, has fun with Creation Club content, is mods just going to be the last thing until either Starfield 2 or for the rest of Starfield's existence? I surely hope not. I hope we get more DLCs. I kind of hope they just keep adding and adding to real Starfield rather than making a second one. But if that's their plan, if that's their direction, I'll take a Starfield 2. But I just wish we knew a little bit more, especially in the sense that if it's going to be like 2 decades until we can even think of having more Starfield after Shattered Space. I mean, I would like to know. But with all of that being said, I guess we won't have our answer for a while. So hopefully with Shattered Space announcement and or release, they'll tell us a little bit more. But until that day, we're left in the dark. So I want to thank all of you for listening to me honestly kind of rant. I know it's not exactly the most entertaining thing, but it is kind of a big question, especially for those of you like me who love Starfield and want to see it grow and be the greatest type of game you can ever have. And I really do. I love Starfield and would love to see it expand, in so many different ways. But I really hope that in the end, they're not just planning on getting rid of Starfield, or at least just, killing it off after one DLC. I hope we get a good bunch. And obviously, that does not mean we'll get 2 to 3 in a year. But if we get one good chunk DLC every year, I'd probably be happy with that. Actually, I really would be. I would be happy with that. But with all of that being said, that's where we're going to have to end this question. So I hope you liked it. Hope you loved it. I want to see what you guys think. What's your kind of questions, answers about Starfield? Let me know if you're answering or have a question you would like to know, and maybe we'll talk about that in another video. So, yeah, actually go ahead. Ask me a question, and if it's a really good question about Starfield and maybe something about the future, let's absolutely talk about it. So with all that being said, if you liked this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good jazz, because we are still gonna go crazy once creations, mods, and Shattered Space release. I plan on doing a ton of Starfield content when all of that releases, so make sure you stick around. And we also have a ton of other stuff. There's bound to be something you love on this channel. So with all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I will see you in the Starfield.